Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be a trade recap from August 21st. Only trade I took today was SPY. I was pretty vocal about this all day. This was actually something I posted for free on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X. A lot of you guys made money on this. I got a lot of messages about this, and wanted to review it real quick. This actually was a day that I wasn't even supposed to be trading. A lot of you guys knew that. Reason behind that too, right? I had such a good read on price of what it was going to be doing. The pre-market looked absolutely perfect. And it's weird, right? You don't ever want to go into something knowing exactly what will happen because you'll trade it almost like it's predetermined to do that thing. Just imagine, you get like some kind of, I don't know, foresight that you're going to win the lottery, right? You start buying tickets. You're going to put your whole bank account into it, thinking that the next ticket's going to be the winner. The next one's going to be the winner. What if you don't win, right? You're out of all your money. It's not a good position to be in. I kind of like, I mean, I don't kind of like it. I wish I could know everything, but I do like the unknown. I like being able to read price and read and react to price. So having it open up in pre-market, doing exactly what I wanted it to do with the dark pull print all the way down to the level, it was just a little weird. So initially I wanted to take the day off, but and I actually ended up even like going back to the desk, alerting a trade, and then I ended up closing it because I just was like, oh man, this is impulsive. I'm just gonna sit out. And then I saw the pre-market high sweep, which I'll talk about here shortly, and that is actually where I sized up pretty heavy. I did exactly what I said I shouldn't do. Do I say I regret it? I have no idea, but at least I didn't put my full account into it. But yeah, it was a wild day, a wild day. If you guys watched that weekly scan video, literally did the phase one or first step of where I think SPY will go to this week. But yeah, enough about that. I mean, I just want to talk about the chart here really quickly. We can pull up the Discord just so you guys can kind of see what I was talking about, right? So pre-market preps where I write down kind of based off the previous day idea, if a trade still looks valid, what I like, etc. So mentioned here, right? If you watch the weekly scan, I was very particular in watching for a rejection off 438.37, right? And I want to see buyers hold the daily low of 435.75 for a potential higher low in the daily. And I was like, whoa, look at the pre-market. So my process or my thought process was pre-market high is going to be today's high, and that 438.37 should be the intraday lower high for a rejection, and then sell off to 435.75, which is our pre-market low. So I was either looking for a right of number one, be patient and wait to short 438.37, going into the pre-market high, obviously, or be patient and wait for the 435.75 long attempt, right? I had two different scenarios. I mentioned I wanted to take the day off. You guys will see here, I ended up taking the long, right? 7 minutes into the open, and I was just like, all right, man, I'm going to close, letting impulse take over. These are back to break even if you want to close. Mentioned that I'm okay with it going down, and then I ended up actually going in, right, with full position. So I do feel a little bit bad with that. Um, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Both things, though, did exactly what I wanted them to do. If you go look at the chart, long side and short side. But yeah, enough about that. I do have one other thing I want to pull up on the Discord to show you guys, but we'll talk about that here in a bit. But yeah, this is what I was looking at. If we go to the daily, you guys already saw the chart. I was thinking that the market, after the sell-off, would move right back to this liquidity pool here. This level at 443.90, potentially move into the sell zone. If you think about this from a weekly perspective, this looks really nice for a weekly lower high, right? Something like that, and then I think it'll sell back down. It doesn't have to be perfect like that, but I was looking, and I talked about this, for this to push up like this, reject, come down, hit this level here, break out, come back down, hold, and then make its way to each target, right? Each subsequent target at like 443.90, and then obviously the 448 level. So it was just trippy to see the market open up right where I wanted it to this morning. So initially, what I was looking at was this pre-market high that I need to mark out real quick. It was like right around there. And what I ended up seeing, right, was the market push up into our short level. It obviously hit and rejected, but you can see that we had our initial low day here, right? And then what do we have? Higher low. And this looked pretty good for the long side initially. So I was, a little bit, I was like, oh man, this might not work. This is probably, it's going to be hard to time this trade out, because if you take a look, the open was pretty good volume, hit our level, reject, and then you guys can see the volume here. Very easy to tell that this is a bull flag or some kind of low volume retracement. I don't think it was a 618 retracement. Yeah, it definitely wasn't, just looking at it, but low volume pullback, right? And then it ended up pushing back up, and what ended up happening was almost perfect, right? What I wanted to see happen was it push right back up to this spot and trade lower than the initial high and then sell off from this 438.70 level. Or I'm sorry, 438.37. This was the daily level. What ended up happening though was it broke the intraday high, right here, and then it literally swept a little bit over pre-market high, and then this candle is what really got me intrigued in the trade, and this is actually where I ended up sizing into the trade. Pretty heavy. I think I had 75 contracts. I think I went 50, 20, and then added 5 on the winner. But yeah, once this candle closed and I saw this starting to draw back down through 438.37, that's actually where I took the trade. And I pulled this really quickly, right? So if we theoretically, let's just say we got it from right here, right? And we just pulled it to the top. I think my entry is a little bit better. Honestly, I think I pulled it as soon as this candle closed and we saw this one open and start to sell. But even then, we'll skew it just a tad. Look at the RR on this trade, right? If we just take the RR, that is a 5R, right? So for every one that you put in $100, you're expected to make 500 on this trade if it works out. So that's a really good R multiple. Like I said, I think I had a little bit better. I think I got in right here. So mine was closer to like 7 to 8. So really worth the trade and worth getting stopped out if I was wrong, right? Especially once this bar closed and we had this pre-market liquidity sweep and we started to press down pretty heavy under the daily level. I was pretty confident this would work out. And really, yes, it was pretty crazy. I haven't held a trade like this with full position size in a long time. My close was somewhere down here, right? I almost held to the bottom. I think I held like a couple runners down here for the full close. But yeah, this was an insane trade. And really though, I want to mark out why I was looking at a long, right? And I noted this is what I want to pull up in the Discord because people probably won't believe I called it out live. Let me pull this up. 1 second, guys. I gotta type in FVG real quick. Here it is. Okay. So this is what I saw on the, I'll show you guys on the 15-minute too. So if you're looking for retracements to short, I think this is it. I could see it retracing into the initial low day, but you need to remember there's an untested fair value gap at previous day high at 437.57. Bears might get triggered out. I ended up bringing this out, kind of tested the Discord to see if they saw what was happening. Because the entire move down was low volume, right? But the candles were moving very aggressively. So once again, leaving behind orders. It was in a different fashion because it wasn't high volume, but it was sketchy because it was low volume, right? It's just slow drag down, but very, very heavy candles. So yeah, I ended up noting this right off the bat. I'll show you guys how I drew this. But yeah, we were looking for a long or a short back off that level, right? So if we go to a 15-minute, we kind of rewind this just a tad. I'll show you guys what it looked like. Before you started to get the retracement, this is what it was starting to look like, right? You had this here and this very, very long bar that it never retested the previous day low. This is why I started to get a little concerned with it because you would expect it to retest here or retest the fair value gap, which is actually right here, right? We'll mark these things out too so you guys don't get confused. Fair value gap, right? And then this is the low of day. We'll keep this, I guess we'll keep this as white. We'll keep this as, I don't want you guys to get confused with my lines. We'll go yellow for this one, right? This is just the low of day. So yeah, I was looking for it to really retrace back into this spot here if it didn't hit here, right? So if let's say it came down and it hit here, right, I was going to go long. And I mentioned this in the intraday section, right? Right, if we go back to this really quickly, said we'd be looking for longs around this level. This is when we got to the target. Since I'm not at the desk today, I'm okay missing this entry. Just would be okay seeing buyers step in and establish a bid here and then move towards 438.37 again. If buyers can reclaim 438.37, I'll be looking for longs back to 440 end of week, right? That's just kind of a longer term thing. But now how we draw this out, because we'll get rid of this really quickly, is we ended up seeing price move up a little bit and retrace into this imbalance candle. If it'll play, my gosh. Might be a little bit longer. So now, right, we kind of understand that this key level hasn't been retested just yet, right? Fair value gap, right, starts, and I've already drawn a little bit of it, is here, right? And it retested a little bit of this zone. So this is your fair value gap now, or the quote-unquote imbalance candle that we're looking for, and it still needs to push back up to 437.88, right? And it's still We'll get rid of this level. Hasn't retested the initial low. So there's some untested levels here that needs to get pushed back into for a balanced market, if you will. I didn't have this low day initially drawn just because I figured it would just retrace to all the way to the fair value gap. But yeah, we ended up seeing this little flag here formulate. Obviously broke down. This was, I thought these guys would get trapped here. I thought this bear flag here would push up a little bit higher, touch this low a day, and then push up even further and stop these guys out and then create a bigger, more dramatic low. Didn't happen, right? It happened pretty quick with the drop. So once again, the fair value gap short was out of the books. I'm looking long at this point, right? I'm looking, because I had people in the Discord saying, oh, when it still gets to this top level, do I want to short this? No, obviously, right? Because if this ends up breaking down and it's hitting quote unquote a bull level, right, or where we expect buyers to be, why would you fade a potential trend shift, right, off a daily high or low? I mean, overall market's still pretty bullish. You got to look at the weekly. You got to look at obviously on the daily we're under the 50 MA or under the 21, the daily, or not the daily, the 9. Guys, I'm tired. Forgive me. But if we're on the weekly, everything still looks fine structurally. So I'm still trying to side bull just at key levels. So this push down, higher low opportunity. We just want to see buyers step in at this point. Now, as it starts to push down, right, I want to mention this really quickly. Right, when I look for reversals, I don't ever do it on a 1, a 5. I think that's sketchy because you're trying to act like you're big money, right? You're trying to time it with your $500, $300, $1,000, whatever you're putting in, right? What's going to move the markets is millions and millions of dollars, right? So you want to wait on a higher time frame and wait for these candles to really close before you try to trade a reversal, or wait for those confirmations, right? A change of character where we get at least 2 higher lows, right? What I ended up waiting for on this one was I saw the compression here, obviously of volume. Volume was so low the entire way down, as I mentioned. But then this candle here, look how tight this candle is, right? You had like this evening star as well, right on our key level. If we go to the hourly, like this doesn't look bad at all, guys. Right, and then you get this close of this candle, the open of this candle. You could have long the hourly, but you're going to obviously miss that move. So what I ended up doing was taking the long side trade once we got a confirmation over this green line, right? So 435.75, we obviously traded under, we broke above, candle close, this candle closed and really created some separation after this wick. I actually got into this trade right around here. My target was the fair value gap, risk was here at the low. So once again, very, very good RR trade. 2 to 1, right? Usually you want to look for 2 to 1s. 1 to 1, it's not ever worth your money. So I always recommend calculating these. I wish I would have gotten these a little bit higher because I closed full at the fair value gap. Obviously, if I had carried these all the way to what could have been, and this, let's not talk about it, right? That's a huge trade. But yeah, that's when I ended up getting into this trade. Confirmation close over the spot, right? I was risking the low break, which would invalidate my entire thesis anyways. And then I was just looking for this to retrace into the fair value gap. I didn't care about volume at this point because this whole sell-off was low volume, and I knew that there were imbalances that were left kind of as voids to be filled. This was the only tricky spot. This is where I took a decent amount of profits, which was right here, right? This is the low of day area that I was talking about. Look how sticky that got, right? You guys can take a look. Let's change it to white so you guys can see better, right? This initial low a day, you guys see how sticky this got? Some consolidation here. We had 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 minutes of consolidation before it finally broke out. This is where I did take a decent chunk of my profits because I figured maybe it comes down here, right? Kind of hits here, just maybe consolidates all day, whatever it may have been. 0 DTE. I didn't want to sit there and just wait, right? This is the trade here. I was comfortable waiting because I ended up taking these 2 DTE. This was a 0 DTE trade. And right now, I was pretty happy with the trade. I mean, it was a really good percentage win. It wasn't as big as my other one. But yeah, I ended up taking a good position or portion of my position out here. This ended up trading up, filling the fair value gap, as a lot of you guys saw. I called on Twitter. Broke out, touched my 430 or 438.37 daily resistance, right? And then pulled back, claimed the fair value gap, and then it obviously removed back through this level, claimed this level, and then rallied end of day. Now, I don't want to tell you guys exactly what I'm doing. I already talked about it in the weekly scan, but really all I was doing for anybody that's more of a passive trader, you didn't need to trade the fair value gap. All you needed to see was 2 things here. You needed to see these guys hold, right? Buyers establish that they indeed want to hold the daily high or low, right? Screw all this, right? Now, once you establish buyers there, you just want to see it close over this line. Did they close over that? Hell yeah, they did, right? So now, that's how you really have to start to look at your style. Do you want to be more aggressive, trading the 0DT, having a lot of stress, or would you rather focus on daily candle closes, level by level trades, right? Because now that we're in a whole new segment now, if we hold 438.37, right, and buyers can consistently hold above this level, or it gets tested and it's another hold, or we break above the previous day high, we're really going to trade back to 443.90, right? It's simple as that, and it really just comes down to your own trading style. But yeah, that was pretty much it. If you guys want to go back to the weekly scan, it's on my Twitter still for free. Discord guys, you guys know where it's at as always. And kind of seeing how I think this will play out the remainder of the week. But very, very easy trade recap. This was one of the few, like I said, where I held pretty much a full 75 contracts down to target, right? I had a huge day today, and I even took the long side trade. Long side trade I wasn't as happy with because you didn't really get a crazy confirmation. You really didn't have a crazy bar that could really solidify the reversal, right? You didn't have a retest. You didn't have crazy volume or VPA that gave you an idea. But yeah, I ended up trading that lighter size and took that up to target as well. So really, really solid day. 2 trades, and that was it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, hope you guys get some value out of this. Please, please, please ask me questions, whether it's DMs, whether it's on the video itself in the comment section. I want to help out. Engagement's not the craziest. I won't lie, right? I see a lot of traders that do pretty basic stuff, and it's really watered down, or it's awful. I'll just put it that way. I feel like I offer a lot more. So if you guys have questions, please ask, right? Please, please ask, because I feel like I can help out a lot of people with just understanding price, understanding structure, tying in a lot of different ideologies without, straying too far away from what I think is the most valuable asset, which is volume and price. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys are trade safe this week. Remember, we have NVIDIA. Snow earnings is another big one on Wednesday. And then obviously Jackson Hole towards the end of the week with Powell. Just play it smart. As always, if you had a big day today, protect these profits, trade defensive. And I love you guys. See you guys tomorrow.